The no-code movement is really booming currently because it allows almost anyone who is willing to learn a new tool to develop a website or even a mobile application without technical background. But as a CTO, I often wonder if the no-code strategy for a specific project is really the best way to build that project. In today's episode, I'm going to explain how you can get the most out of code and no-code technologies by eventually combining both of them. Hi, I'm Amaury, founder and CEO at My CTO Friend, where founders come to learn how to build their tech startup. With this Startup Snack series available on both podcast and YouTube, we want to share the essential to make it easier for you to build your tech startup. And recently I had to audit a startup product that has cost about $50,000 to develop, built entirely in code. The problem is that the provider that was working on that project wasn't really providing good quality code. And the application, this application, won't be easy to evolve over time. This is the height because usually when we choose to develop something with code, it's a long-term investment. And that wasn't the case for that project. So would it be better to develop the product in no-code tool? Well, certainly. But more importantly, what is really, really important is to build things the right way. Let me develop. No-code is so popular because it's fast and because it allows to build application without knowing how to code. But that's just the top side of the iceberg. In any application, code or no code, what's the most important is the downside of the iceberg, the logic. And you can know how to code but have a very bad logic. Or you can also know nothing about code, but being very good at logic and being able to develop a great application thanks to no-code tools. That being said, to help you build your next application, your next product, your next startup, let's review what are the different building blocks that you have in any application, code and no-code. First, you have the visual aspect of the application, what we call the front end. Then you have the logical side of the application, where we're going to store file, database, etc. And also the logic of the software. So you can decide to structure an application with code or with no code. It's been decades since all the application has been structured according to these three blocks: the front end, and on the back end, you have the logic back end and the functions, the controller side, and you have the storage and the database. So what no-code tools allow is to create an entire ecosystem usually, integrating everything. And you can take whatever no-code technologies, Bubble, etc. They integrate everything. But based on your project needs, you might also decide to use a dedicated technology for each component. For example, no-code for the front end, you could develop the application in no code, and real code for the back end. Or the opposite, you could use the building blocks of a no code technology for the back end, and you can use a real mobile application. You can build a real mobile application with code. So, real code is usually longer to develop, but it provides more flexibility over time. And depending on the quality of what you want to create, it might be relevant to mix both. And some no-code technologies can also work with code, definitely like the headless CMS as example. Headless CMS is a dedicated no-code technology to build the back-end side of an application. You can find the link on another episode in the description where I definitely describe what headless CMS is. So in a nutshell, to build a startup, no code is great. And most of the time, it's a very good first step because it's going to be cheaper and faster. And what is even better is to anticipate what technologies are the best for the short and long term, not only for the whole architecture, but for each component of the architecture. If you enjoy learning with us and want to see more, just consider subscribing. Help us spread the word by hitting the like button and by sharing with your entrepreneur friends. And if you have any question or want to suggest a topic, feel free to comment down below or to ask you any questions and to check our website, mycityofriend.co.